Okay, so we left off here. So the way I think of this, okay, fractions are hard for adults and children and everybody. So the easiest way, in my opinion, to determine where your angle, your terminal side is going to fall is to count by whatever half of your denominator is. So in this example, we have a 6. What is half of 6? 3. So I'm going to count by 3. Now, this is a positive angle, though, which means I'm going to start here and I'm going this direction. So starting at 0, I'm counting by 3. 0, 3, 6, 9, 12. Now, I didn't write it as a fraction. All of these are over 6, but I'm just not writing that. So what this really is, this 3 represents 3 pi over 6. And this represents 6 pi over 6. And this is 9 pi over 6. And this is 12 pi over 6. I'm just not writing that. All right, so now that we have that labeled, keeping in mind that my quadrants go this direction, what quadrant would 11 fall in? Show me with your fingers. Where is 11? So you're asking yourself, is 11 between the number 11? Is it between 0 and 3? No. Is it between 3 and 6? No. Is it between 6 and 9? No. Is it between 6 and 12? Yes. So the terminal side is somewhere in quadrant 4. And it's important that you draw your angle. So you see how I'm circling back to the beginning? You have to do that. Because I need to make sure you understand, are we going this direction? Or are we going this direction? And if we're positive, you need to show that it's coming from what direction we're coming from. All right, now we got a decimal. But that's okay. That's okay. It's okay. What is half of 3? 1.5. So we're going to count by 1.5. It's positive, so we're still going this direction. All right, so we're going to start off at 0. Half of 3 is 1.5. And then we add 3. 3 plus 1.5. I know we're not using calculators, we're using our brain, but I believe in you though. 4.5. And then we end with 6. So now that we have our quadrants labeled, I'm going to go ahead and write this 1, 2, 3, and 4. You just need to figure out where will 4 fall. Show me with your fingers, where are you going to put your terminal angle? 1, 2, 3, or 4. Got some people thinking. I think the decimal is confusing us. I see some 1s. I see some 4s. I see the majority is 3 though. It is 3. So what you're asking yourself, is 4 between 0 and 1.5? No. Is 4 between 1.5 and 3? No. Is 4 between 3 and 4.5? Yes. So my terminal side, this is called the terminal side. That's where I stop. So what I'm saying is I'm starting here and I'm rotating to there. That's the angle. So that's my angle. All right, so now we have a 4. What's half of 4, y'all? 2. Now this one is negative. So I'm going to start here, but I'm going to rotate this direction. So I'm going to have 0, -2, -4, -6, -8. We're going to keep the negative. So 0.
Does it matter if we write it as a fraction on a test?
Yeah, you can. I'm just not wasting time, but you can. You can absolutely write it. So like, because that's what this is. I'm just being,
Simple.
there you go. So negative, this is negative 2 pi over 4, and this is negative 4 pi over 4, and this is negative 6 pi over 4. This is negative 8 pi over 4. I'm just not writing that part. All right, so negative 5. Now negatives can be tricky for some people. Don't say it out loud. Let me see if I can get closer to 100%. Let me just explain the question. I'm trying to figure out where negative 5 is going to fall. If you think it's between 0 and negative 2, you would say 4. If you think it's between negative 2 and negative 4, you would say that it's 3. If you think if negative 5 is in between negative 4 and negative 6, you would say 2. But if negative 5, in your opinion, falls between negative 6 and negative 8, you would say 1. So now that we've talked about it, where are we going to be? We're getting closer to 100%. I believe in y'all, though. We're going to get it. Okay, we are in quadrant 2. You are correct. Now, you have to show, because the angle starts here and is rotating that direction. So I do need you to show that the motion that we're going. Homework 1 is a Canvas assignment, and you just have to click. It'll say click on the screen where this angle is. So you have to make sure you're clicking in the quadrant. Okay, and sometimes you will get an answer that's like here. So like it might say, where is 90 degrees? Well, 90 degrees is actually on the line. So don't think you're wrong if you get a question like that. All right, last 3. I'm gonna give you a couple minutes to try to do it by yourself. I'm gonna walk around with my seating chart. You can definitely move your seat, but I just need to kind of have a record of where we're sitting now so I can put it in Skywork. All right, let's go ahead and work through it together. All right, what are we going to count by? By 3s, because we're going to count by half of my denominator. It's negative. So we're going to start here and rotate this direction. So this would be my 0, and this is negative 3. This would be negative 6. Again, these are all pi over 6. I'm just not writing it. This is negative 9. and this is negative 12. All right, so keeping in mind, 1, 2, 3, 4. Where are you going to put negative 5? That's a 9, by the way. That don't look like a 9. Okay, where are you putting negative 5? Is negative 5 between 0 and 3, 3 and 6, 6 and 9, or 9 and 12? It is between 3 and 6. So we're going to put it here. And we're going to show the rotation is that way. All right, fortunately for us, we already did a 3. So, and the last two are the same because they're both counting by what? What are we counting by? 1.5. You're right. So we're going to start off with 0. This is negative 1.5. This is negative 3. This is negative 6. And going back, we end off with negative. Wait, no, it's not. I'm just playing, y'all. I was just making sure y'all paid attention. It's negative 4.5. And then it's negative 6. Okay. Where is negative 2? Show me with your fingers. All right. Getting closer to 100%. Right here. All right, lastly, I'm just going to use this one because it's already marked. Where would negative 5 fall? Show me with your fingers. Where are you going to put negative 5? Is negative 5 between 0 and 1.5, 1.5 and 3, 3 and 4.5, 4.5 and 6? It's in the first quadrant. Good job. So this is here. And you're going to wrap all the way around. All right, so if you happen to have a calculator on your desk, go ahead and slide that bad boy under your desk because you won't be using it until March. This is where knowing your multiplication facts is going to be helpful. I believe in you. You can do it. You can do it. All right, so go ahead, take a moment. We're going to learn how to convert degrees to radians. So I'll give you a moment to copy down that slide and then we'll start going through it together. All right, looks like we are done writing, so let's go ahead and do it. So when you're asked to change, so everything, I can't think of anything that doesn't have more than one unit of measure. Even money has dollars and cents, okay? When we're talking about an angle, it can be in degrees or radians. So if I'm trying to convert it from one unit of measure to another, if it's already in degrees and I want to convert it to radians, I'm going to multiply it by pi over 180. out. How do we multiply a number by a fraction? I'm going to put that 50 over 1, and then I'm just multiplying across. So when I multiply across, I get 50 pi over 180, which is the right answer. I'm still going to take off half a point though, because it is not simplified. What can I divide into 50 and 180? They both end with a 0. So what does that mean? I can divide it by what? 10. When you divide by 10, you're just knocking off that 0. 1 0 for 1 0. You can't knock, so like for example, if this was 500 over 180, you can't knock out 2 upstairs and 1 downstairs. That's not how it works. If you can only do the same amount, top and bottom. So for this example, I can take 1 away, and I'm left with 5 pi over 18. That is my final answer. So 50 degrees is equivalent to 5 pi over 18 in radians. So what you're going to do, multiply it by pi over 180 and then reduce. That's it. Let's look at B. Multiply it by pi over 180. All right, so I got negative 75 pi over 180. Now you're gonna divide 180 by 5 a lot. So eventually you'll just know what it is. Like you'll know automatically what it is. But numbers that end in 5 and 0 can be divided by what? By 5. So you got to do it. I mean, you got to go back to the 3rd grade. Let's go ahead and knock out that 3rd grade math that we learned. Let's go ahead and do it. Do them both. Now, when I taught summer school, I taught middle school, which I will never do again, ever. But I taught division, and I showed them partial quotients because they didn't really know their multiplication facts. So if someone, I know you can't ask me in front of everybody because, we can't do that. But I can show you another way to divide. It takes a little bit longer, but it will still work. All right. How many times does 5 go into 7? Put the 1 on the roof. So 1 goes on the roof. Then we're going to subtract that 5. 7 minus 5. I know without a calculator, we can do this though. What's 7 minus 5? 2. Bring down the 5. How many times does 5 go into 25? 5. So what I just figured out is that my numerator, that's going to change to a negative 15 pi. Now let's do the 180. 5 can't go into 1, but 5 can go into 18 3 times. $18 minus 15 is 3. 5 goes into 30 6 times. So again, a lot of times you will have to take 180 divided by 5. So you'll just automatically know that it's 36 without doing it because you're going to do it so much. So are we done? We got 15 over 36. Can I divide it again, or am I stuck? I can divide it again. What number goes into 15 and 36? 3. Let's do it. Now, the shorter way would be to divide these by 15. But no one is going to recognize that 15 goes into 75 and 180. So that's why we had to break it up into 2 different divisions. We did the 5 first, and then we did the 3. So we know that 3 goes into 15 5 times. So now that's a negative 5. And 3 goes into 36 12 times. So negative 75 degrees is the same as negative 5 pi over 12. All right, last one. I need to make some space. Does anybody need more room to copy this down? I need more time, I'm sorry. Anybody need more time? Okay. All right, so again, we're gonna take this by pi over 180. So we end up with 215 pi over 180. 215 and 180 can both be divided by 5. Now we already know that 180 divided by 5 is what? 36. So we don't have to do that again. We do need to take 5 into 215. So go ahead and do that off to the side. All right, 5 goes into 21 4 times. 5 times 4 is 20. Subtract, I get a 1, bring down the 5. 5 goes into 15, how many times? 3. So I end up with, in this answer, I get 43 pi over 36. Can I go again? No. So that's your stopping ground. Your answer is 43 pi over 36. All right, now let's go the other direction, where I'm going to give you it in radians, and I want you to change it to degrees. So you have to know how to go from degrees to radians and also radians to degrees. So I'll give you a moment to copy these down, these 4, and then we'll go through it together. Let's do it. So now we're going the other direction, which means if it's in radians and I want it to be in degrees, I don't want pi in my answer. When we're talking about degrees, degrees doesn't have the symbol pi. We need to cancel it, which is why I'm dividing it by 180 over pi instead of pi over 180. So let's go ahead and do that. When I multiply it by 180 over pi, first thing that's going to happen, because I have a pi upstairs and a pi downstairs, what's going to happen with pi? Cancels. So I'm left with 5 times 180 divided by 6. So you have to multiply and you have to divide. But sometimes it makes more sense to divide first instead of multiplying first. So whenever this number, your denominator, can go evenly into 180, we're going to take that first. Now, do we know what 6, how many times does 6 go into 18? 3. So then if 6 goes into 18 3 times, then 6 goes into 180 how many times? 30. Good. So I'm going to start off by doing that first. So then I'm only left with 5 times 30, which we know 5 times 3. And what's 5 times 3? So what's 5 times 30? 150. So 5 pi over 6 is equal to 150 degrees. That is my answer. All right, let's look at question B. Again, I'm taking 180 over pi. Pi is going to go away. So I have 3 times 180 divided by 4. Now, I know how many times 4 goes into 180. But I don't think that's a common quotient that we know. Okay? So in that instance, what I would do instead of divide first is I would multiply first. I want to make sure you understand you could do it either way and get the same answer. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to multiply 3 times 180 first. So let's do that first. So down at the bottom, go ahead and take 180 times 3. All right, so 0 times 3 is 0. 8 times 3 is 24. And then you're going to take 1 times 3, which is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. So what we have now is 540 divided by 4. So let's go ahead and finish it out. Off to the side, let's take 4 into 540. So first I took 3 times 180 and I got 540. And then I took 540 divided by 4 to get my final answer. If you were to divide 180 by 4 first, you would get 45, and then you would multiply that by 3. Again, you can do it either way. There really is just whichever way you want to go by doing it. I don't know. So 4 goes into 5 one time. 4 goes into 14 3 times. And 4 goes into 20 5 times. Who got 135 degrees? Okay, y'all. So I'm going to write it at the bottom because I need more space. So 3 pi over 4 is the same as not negative. It's not negative. It's the same as 135 degrees. So I'm going to give you all a chance to copy that down so I can erase my screen because I'm writing way big and it's all over my whole slide. 2 more and then we are done. Done for today. Anybody need more time to copy down A or B? All right, let's go. Let's go ahead and multiply this by 180 over pi. That cancels out the pi. So what I have left is -7 times 180 over 8. I really ignore that negative until the end though. So I would ignore it and just make sure my final answer was negative. Okay, so 8 does not go into 18. That's kind of ugly and you actually get a decimal. So I wouldn't do that first. I wouldn't start off by dividing. Let's start off by multiplying. Go ahead and take 180 times 7. Again, don't worry about that negative. Anybody brave enough to tell me what you got? 1,260. Anybody else get that? 1,260. Keep working, make sure. All right. So 0 times 7 is 0. 8 times 7 is 56. 1 times 7 is 7, and 7 plus 5 is 12. So now what we have is negative 1260 over 8. So let's finish it out. Let's go ahead and divide 8 into 1260. This one might be a little tricky though, but it's really not that bad. All right, 8 goes into 12 one time. I'm going to subtract the 8. 12 minus 8 is 4. Carry down the 6. How many times does 8 go into 46? 7? 5? 8 goes into 46 how many times? 5 times. So we're going to put a 5 here. Subtract the 40. How many times does 8 go into 60? 8 times 7 is 56. Okay, we got a remainder. What do you do when there's a remainder? I'm going to tell you. You put a decimal and add a 0. So put a decimal after the 157. And you can go one more time. Because 8 does go into 40. How many times does 8 go into 40? So my final answer... and it's negative, okay? Remember, we started with a negative, so we end with a negative. So the answer to question C, I'm going to write it at the top, is negative 157.5 degrees. All right, question D. Let's multiply it by 180 over pi. Now, this is one where I think it might be a little easier. What am I doing? Yeah, sorry, tripping. Okay, so we got that. So what I have is, let me write over here. So what I have is negative 3 times 180 over 10. Now, this is pretty easy to do. This should be easy to do, right? So for this one, I would divide first. How many times does 10 go into 180? 18. So then we just have negative 3 times 18. Go ahead and do that off to the side. We should get 54, negative 54 degrees. That is the answer to question D. So far, what have we done? We've learned how to plot angles, right? If it's in degrees or in radians, how to figure out what quadrant it's in. And then we've also learned how to change an angle from radians to degrees and from degrees to radians. All right, thank you, children. I appreciate it.